Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the End Zone Enthusiasts. And now we're going into our picks for week 11. This season is flying by, people. But before we get started, why are we the End Zone Enthusiasts? Well, we are coastal enthusiasts who love the NFL. And with that being said, our shirt today is from Lake Compounds. This is an older shirt here. This is when Boulder Dash actually was the golden ticket winner for best winning coaster. Since this shirt, so many moons ago, Phoenix has won it like 5 years in a row over at Knoebel. So it's kind of a classic because, well, the ride's kind of a classic. But let's not talk about that. How did we do last week? Well, we did piss poor. We did craptacular. We did horrible. 8-6, the worst we've ever done in the last 2-3 years. Just teams like Buffalo losing to Miami, teams like the Saints beating Carolina. Just so many weird things happened last week that we're lucky that we are above 500. We still have never been 500 or lower. So knock on wood that week 11 does not do that. But before we get started with our picks, let's talk about who's on bye. And this week we only got 2 on bye. The Indianapolis Colts, who are doing an amazing season right now. Nobody picked them at this point. It's good for them to get themselves all ready for the final stretch and take that AFC South. And the other team is the New Orleans Saints, who are not doing great. They did get a victory last week, one of those big upsets that you didn't see happening. But at this point, they're going to work on their rookie quarterback and see if they can salvage the season. I think no matter what they do, they're going to be in the bottom 5, top 5 draft picks. But you know what? They both deserve a break. So that being said, tomorrow's game, because we're dropping this on Wednesday, we actually had some free time now that things are slowing down for us. And starting off is the New Jersey Jets. Notice I put down New Jersey because even New York's like, nah, we're good. We don't need the Jets there. They're going up against the New England Patriots. And you want to talk about 2 teams going 2 opposite directions. Now, first of all, the Jets got a victory last week, even though they did a yard sale and got rid of Sauce Gardner and so many other talented people there. They still had Bryce Hall. And Bryce Hall basically and Justin Fields kind of pulled off that victory there. But now they're going against they were playing Cleveland. So you got to figure, okay, Cleveland's kind of equal with them, stuff like that. Well, they're going against the New England Patriots, who are right now on a 6-game winning streak there. They are 3 games ahead of the Buffalo Bills right now for the AFC South. They are, Indianapolis and New England might be the championship game. Who had that bingo card in the beginning of the year? Seriously. At this point, they have a 3-game lead on Buffalo, 2 games in the standings, but they also have the tiebreak right now. So at this point, they're flying high. So I'm not going to hide around and play the game. I'm basically going to tell you right now, easy win for the Patriots. They're going to, basically not 8 in a row, but it's about 6 or 7 in a row. I mistyped that there. But all in all, an amazing weekend. Way to kick off there. It's going to be an ugly game, but for the Patriot fans, you're just going to keep on rolling. You got an easy schedule the rest of the year. I don't think Buffalo's going to catch you. So good job, Pats. Next, we are going with the final overseas game. This one, I believe, is in Madrid, Spain. A lot of overseas. You had started off in South America, then you jumped over to London, then you had Berlin last week. This is the last of the international games. And I kind of feel bad for Spain because I'm sure Miami and Washington looked like a good one in the beginning of the year. But because both teams are kind of going 2 different directions now, well, actually not really 2 different directions, both kind of failing this year. You got Washington, who they had some tough losses, but then they lost Jaden Daniels, who is not on the IR, but really should be on the IR because that shoulder should not go that way. So with that being said, I don't see Jaden Daniels coming back against Miami, who had a great victory, huge victory, a dominating victory against Buffalo. So this one here, it's overseas, so there's no really home field advantage here. But what you got to figure out here is, is Mariota going to step up and start, pulling off some victories here? Or is Miami going to do what they do with Buffalo? They finally figure things out and move forward. Well, I'm going to think the injury to Jaden Daniels is going to give this game to the Miami Dolphins. Yes, I think the Miami Dolphins are going to win this game against Washington. 2 weeks ago, I would never have said it, but after the injury and after what Miami did at Buffalo, I think that's the way it's going to go. Next game here is an NFC South battle. Carolina against Atlanta. And these are two teams. When you're talking about teams this year, these are two teams that you have no idea what's going to happen. You've had games where these guys look dominant, beating, Carolina beating Buffalo and then taking out Green Bay. Then you have games like last week where they got their butt handed to them by the Saints. Meanwhile, you had Atlanta, who was dominating teams, and then the next week getting blown out, being shut out. So really, I have no idea how this game will go. Will Atlanta with at running attack with Bijan Robinson dominate, or is Carolina going to find a way to win and usually end up winning with a lot of their defense? I have no idea which team's going to show up there. You have no idea what team's going to show up here, so I have to make a pick, and I think it's going to be Carolina. Carolina currently right now is in second place in that division. And Atlanta, even though they played well last week, they still lost to Indy. I think Carolina's got a better chance at it, and I'm going to go with Carolina. Yet again, this could be a week where I end up below 500 because there's a lot of tough matchups to pick. The next game is, wow, who the hell do I cheer for? So if you know anything about this station, this channel, I am an Eagles fan by birth. I was born in the Philly area. I'm currently in the Philly market. May not be much longer, but I'm still in the Philly market right now. But I do love Tampa Bay. I just came back. I was there a week ago. I have a small branch office down there for my company. And all in all, I love the Bucs. But my youngest daughter, lives in the Buffalo region. So I am a Buffalo Bill fan. I am a Tampa Bay fan. And I am an Eagles fan. Well, you got Tampa Bay going against Buffalo. Both teams lost last week, but both teams kind of lost for different reasons. Buffalo had that epic win against Kansas City. And every year, boom, we get that Kansas City win and makes you feel good. And then you had the biggest upset of the year, Buffalo losing to Miami. And it wasn't like a 3-point game. It was a butt kicking. Meanwhile, you had Tampa, who's struggling with New England the entire game, and they just couldn't make the plays when they needed to, mainly because, Bucky's been hurt, and so has Godwin because you lost Evans. So you're basically playing with a superstar rookie wide receiver, but you got Ibuka and you've got Otten. And that's basically it. And, Rashee Rice sometimes breaks one or he gets out his tough yards. But all in all, Tampa's been playing with one arm behind their back. And at this point, I'm recording this on Tuesday, believe it or not, guys. So I don't know if Bucky's going to play. I don't know if Godwin's going to play. Bucky, last time I checked, was doubtful. So I don't know what the hell doubtful means. It means less than 25% chance. I think, probable, and then you have questionable, but that kind of stuff. We don't know what direction they're going to go here. But I have to make a decision. And the decision I'm going to make, it's a 50-50, but I'm going to go with the Bucs because I love the creamsicle uniforms. No. Actually, I'm doing it because the way that Miami played and beat up on Buffalo really got me concerned about Buffalo. Shockingly concerned about Buffalo. Josh Allen was making mistakes. The running attack was fumbling. The defense was bending and breaking. My guts tell me Tampa. Yet again, this is a 50-50. This can go either way. And when I watch this game this week, I'm going to love every second of it. Next one we got here is division bottom battle here. Got Houston going against Tennessee. Now, I almost can't say this the way Jacksonville's been playing, but right now, Tennessee and Houston are on the bottom of the division. Houston, the last 2 years, has won the division, and the last 2 weeks have been looking more and more like the team we love. However, CJ Stroud, the Strouds, if you're a Grassi fan, has been out. Mills got a great victory coming back last week. Great victory. Shows you the capable starter there. Meanwhile, you got Tennessee with the rookie quarterback, and that's about it. So with this one, I'm not going to bore you. After seeing what Mills did last week, I've got Houston has no problem today. Houston is going to get the victory over Tennessee. Tennessee, I think, will end up having the number 1 draft pick again. I think when it all plays out, the Jets will give them some battles here, but Tennessee, one of 2 Bryans that have been fired beforehand here. But yet again, my guts is telling me it's going to be Houston on this one. Next one is the NFC North battle. It is Chicago and Minnesota. Chicago is currently in second place. Take that, Green Bay. We got Michael Parsons now. We're going to be the best team in the league now. We're unstoppable. All right. Eagles beat you, shut you down offensively. The Eagles defense you got 7 points, and even there, that was kind of a loose 7 there. A couple penalties helped you move along there. Meanwhile, Chicago got nothing to lose. And when you got nothing to lose, when nobody expects you to be at the party, you can ask the prettiest girl out. Why not? You're not even supposed to be there, right? So you've got Minnesota, basically at this point here, who's played hot, played cold. JJ, for some reason, he can't get the ball to Jefferson. He's been doing a lot more with the other receivers, not Jefferson. They're touch and go. They had a tough loss against Baltimore last week. Last week was a very tough loss against Baltimore, because if they took that Baltimore game, they would be like in second place right now with Chicago. There isn't much separating Detroit, Chicago, Green Bay, and Minnesota, all half games, full games. You got that tie with Green Bay that really screws up, easily seeing things. But Minnesota at this point could win, could not. Meanwhile, Chicago's playing high. They're here. They're happy. Ben Johnson is showing why he was such a high pick for a rookie coach. Everybody wanted him. Now you can see why. So, of course, I'm going to pick Chicago. Well, actually, it's a 50-50. And just because I love chaos, I'm going with the Vikes. I'm going with the Vikings. The Vikings winning will definitely throw that division into more chaos, because Chicago will drop down, Vikings will go there. Who knows what's going on with Green Bay? I love chaos. And because it's a 50-50, it could go either way, literally, kind of like the Tampa Bay Buffalo game. I got to go with Minnesota. Next one is the only game I think will be a blowout. And I think it's the Green Bay Packers, who were embarrassed by the Eagles and who were really embarrassed by Carolina, going against the New York Giants. Notice I said New York for them. I'm showing them some respect. I actually do like Dart. Now, I don't know if Dart's going to play or not. He's in concussion protocol. It's Tuesday. My gut's telling me he's probably going to play, and he's got a brand new coach. They just fired Drabel. So because of that, I really think Green Bay is going to come back. I think at this point, between it being a new coach, with you not knowing if it's going to be Russell Wilson or Dart, also factoring in no Neighbors and no Scattaboo, they're playing dead. There's a reason why Drabel got fired. And there's a reason why the team who was ahead most of that game against Chicago ended up losing to Chicago when Dart goes out. So I'm thinking Dart's not going to play. Yet again, I don't know that for a fact. And I also think Green Bay at this point has been embarrassed. And I think the defense is just going to take it out on Russell Wilson or Winston. At this point, I would put Jameson Winston in, because Wilson hasn't shown that he can do anything. So, but because of all the issues that were there, I actually picked Green Bay to be my eliminator pick this week. I'm still in this thing, believe it or not. So many weeks down, and I'm still in it. I can't believe it. But these games are getting tougher and tougher, and the game I'm picking is Green Bay over the Giants. Next one is a battle for the North. Now, I know, right now, Cincinnati's 2 games behind Pittsburgh. So the winner's not taking the division. You got Baltimore in there too. But I think it's going to tell you a lot about where the division is. Pittsburgh has lost 2 in a row. They had a big victory 2 weeks ago against Indy, and then they laid a brick against the Chargers. So, like a lot of these mid-level teams, you don't know who you're going to get. Meanwhile, you got Cincinnati, who, coming off a bye week, have nothing to lose. You know it's going to be Flacco. You know that they do have the talented wide receivers. So at this point, if Pittsburgh wins, they're going to stay in the race, stay above whatever Baltimore does. They still have a game victory there. They're going to be going pretty well there. And they do have talent. They have DK Metcalf and they have Aaron Rodgers. Meanwhile, Cincinnati, for chaos sakes, the last 2 weeks before the bye week, they should have had those games won, and they lost them in the last minute. I think the Kitty Cats are going to get the victory here. The last game I saw against the Steelers was not pretty. They were dominating on every aspect of the ball. It wasn't even close. It was a blowout by the Chargers. But yeah, you got that thing where they could beat Indy. We don't know what teams, Atlanta, Carolina, Pittsburgh, Minnesota. You don't know what team's going to show up every week, and that makes it tough. But I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to pick the upset. I think the Bengals are going to take this one. Next one, I could have come up with a better name for it. So it's a light blue uniform battle. Yes, it is. Jacksonville going against the LA Chargers. And you know what? It's hard for me to believe in Jacksonville anymore. Every time I think they're going to win, they lose. And every time I think they're going to lose, they win. So at this point, I'm not looking at Jacksonville anymore, even though they are still in second place in the division. I'm going by who their opponent is. And the LA Chargers have been proving to me that they're number 8 in my power rankings this week. They went from not being in my power rankings to now be number 8 because I've been seeing so much from these guys every time they play that I got to believe in them. And at this point, the Chargers are going to take the lead in the West. You know how I'm thinking the other one's going to go. Actually, I think it's going to go the opposite way, but I'm prepared for it not to go the right way. And you'll hear what I'll talk about in a minute there. But Chargers going to win this one. It's going to be a great little victory there. Jacksonville is going to be Jacksonville at this point. Jacksonville is becoming the new Chargers. Jacksonville finds a way to lose. They get a big lead, and then they fall apart. Houston, they should be Houston. They could have killed Houston for the rest of the year, and then they gave up. They stopped playing, gave up the touchdowns, and lose to the Mills. It's, like I said, Jacksonville, I can't trust you anymore. Next game, this is the best in the West, people. This is the best at the West, and it's my number 1 power ranked team with Seattle going against my number 3 team, the LA Rams. And the only reason why they're not 1 and 2 is because I always pick the top 2 as the top in their division. New England snuck in there at number 2. These are just 2 teams that are playing at the top of the game. Like if the playoffs are going right now, I would have these 2 in the championship game. And I'm an Eagles fan. I love Tampa Bay, but these guys are just playing the lights out. You got Seattle, who basically is firing in all cylinders. I don't know why they're not triple covering there with Smith and Gupta, because he is the offense for Darnold. But of course, the running attack's there, the defense is there. Seattle is number 1 for a reason. They are playing. I watched 2 games. I don't get many West Coast games, and when I do, it's like with red zone and jumble back and forth. But the last 2 weeks, because there wasn't any real games going on in red zone in the 4 o'clock hour, I saw a lot of the Seattle game. And then the week before that, they played on a primetime game. So I watched them, and I got to admit, I love what I see there. But there's also part of me is like the Rams got Stafford. They got, Dante Adams. They've got Puka Nacua. They've got the talent. They got a Verse over on defense. They've got, great special teams. So the Rams are definitely the team that you know better because you see them more, you know the names. Meanwhile, you got Darnold, who basically Minnesota, after winning 14 games, they're like, okay, that was great. See you later. We're going with the rookie. Questionable there. You've got a team that basically lost the coach and, they were trying to find themselves. So really, your gut should tell you that the Rams are going to take this. But the last 2 games I watched, I think the Hawks are taking the division. I think because whoever wins this is going to be the leader of the West and probably the number 2 seed if the Eagles lose, which they could. They got a tough game. We'll be talking about that one in a few minutes. So they could end up being the number 1 seed and the number 1 in the division. And my guts tell me there's a reason why I put Seattle above the Rams in the power rankings. It's just, I just see them being a more solid all-around team. Next one is the best of the West, but for 3rd place. You got San Francisco, who, yet again, their record is really good considering their injuries. Their record is actually 6-4. Very good considering all the injuries that they've had. The only guy who's really been healthy this year has been CMC, who usually that is not the case. Going against Arizona, who Seattle destroyed. I mean, they were up 35-7, I think, before halftime. They got destroyed. And I'm not going to beat around the bush here. The win is not in the cards for the Cards. It's going to be the 49ers, guys. I just think that at this point, the Cardinals are going to be a bottom 5. It's hard to believe the talent they have, but I think they're going to be a bottom 5 team, and I think they're going to be looking for a new quarterback literally next year. So San Francisco is going to be there, and they're going to be tied with the Rams or Seattle, whoever loses that. So yet again, I love how the last 2 weeks the teams have been alternating playing each other. But in the last 2 weeks, we're going to see who the creme is and who's the bottom feeder is. We know the bottom feeder is going to be Arizona, but I really think it's going to be Seattle as the creme de creme. Next is how the North was won. Baltimore against Cleveland. Now, these are 2 teams going opposite directions. Even though they were both really bad at the beginning of the year, Baltimore's won 3 in a row, and they are hungry to take that division. They see that Pittsburgh is stumbling, and they want that division because let's be honest, only one team is coming out of the North this year. It's not going to be, Cincinnati and then Pittsburgh and then Baltimore like it sometimes is. No, the way the other divisions are, with the East and, the South and the West, especially the West, there's only one coming out of the North. So if you want to win this game in the playoffs, you got to win this division. And let's be honest, talent-wise and all-around wise, Ravens are going to take their fourth in a row. I think they're just going to beat up on Cleveland. Yet again, don't get me wrong, Myles Jarrett can always change the game. He usually does change the game, but I just don't see it happening this time. Next one is a great one if it happens. The end of the reign of terror. Kansas City playing Denver. This is a must-win for Kansas City because the Chargers do not seem to be slowing down. And if they end up getting 500, 5-5, 5-4 right now, if they end up 5-5 in the AFC, I don't think they're making the playoffs. I do not think they're making the playoffs if they lose this game. Going against Denver, who has something to prove, guys, they've been winning. I mean, God, they are my fifth team, but they're 8-2. They're 800% winning percentage, 800. But the last couple games, man, the Raiders on Thursday night did not look pretty. The last couple weeks, last minute fourth quarters coming through. Teams have been losing it. They haven't been winning it. So with that being said, will Denver have the fight in them to step on the neck of the Chiefs? Honest mistake. Or are the Chiefs going to get this, go 6-4, and then start their march to not just the playoffs, but also the division? Because if they lose and the Chargers win, Denver and Denver's going to be 6-4, so it'll be 2 games there. Yeah, so it's going to be a 2-game margin there. They can make it a 4-game margin if they're 9-2 and they're 5-5. That's 3 there, 3.5. I mean, yeah, you can always count them down here. So Denver, if you win this, you got them. So how do I think it's going to be? Well, of course, I know the Kansas City Chiefs are going to lose. They're going to lose. The defense of Denver is something that really Kansas City has yet to figure out. And I think the Denver defense is going to be able to contain Mahomes and make sure they have the coverage. I'm hoping Surtain comes back. If Surtain comes back, that can lock down Rice or not. Well, Rice is the felon or Worthy and stuff like that. I'm not worried about Kelsey and those guys anymore. And the running attack is, I can't believe the Kansas City Chiefs didn't do anything about the running attack. They should have went after Hall and thrown anything they could to get Hall at this point, because they definitely need a running attack. The running attack is very, very suspect. But I think Denver's going to take it, and I think it's Kansas City Chiefs. Bye. Next one here is the Sunday night game, and this is the matchup of the weekend. For me, Tampa Bay, Buffalo is a special one for me. But if you're looking for matchups here, you've got definitely top 3 teams, top 4, because the West is pretty good here. But last year, this should have been a championship game, and we were robbed from it because of Washington. Well, now we got it. And both teams are getting healthier. Both teams don't have a lot of injuries. Both teams have been playing well, but not up to their potential. The defense of Philadelphia had a homecoming with Green Bay. Are they going to be able to do that against Detroit? Meanwhile, the offense of the Eagles has been pedestrian. I have not been impressed with the play calling. And I know everybody's jumping on the offensive coordinator, and for 2 weeks, it looked like he figured things out. We're going to go under center. We're going to go shotgun. We're going to move over here and stuff. But the play calling against Green Bay was pedestrian. So with that being said, the offense of Detroit has been, they got that 1-2 punch that the Eagles don't have. They have Saquon, and then he got, a second level guy. You've got 2 number ones with Detroit. You've got great wide receivers on both ends here. I'm curious to see what happens. This could be a close game with the Eagles winning, or it could be a blowout by Detroit. I don't see a blowout by the Eagles. But all in all, the Eagles need to get that passing attack going. So who am I going to pick? I'm a homer. Fly, Eagles, fly. I think that the defense is definitely better with what Howie's done. I think that the longer that we go, Alexander might step up to be the number 2 corner. That would get DeJean back into the slot where he belongs. And, because Mingo's okay, but these guys definitely, they're number 2s. And like I said, they got decent number twos over in Tennessee. Over in Detroit. But my gut's telling me I got to go with my birds. Fly, Eagles, fly. And the last game is, who cares? I have it as Monday Night Football, but Dallas against Vegas? You know what? I don't care if Disney and YouTube TV do not show me that game. I was able to find my best friend Janine has Disney Plus. I was able to get ESPN there and watch the Eagles game. But the reality is, this Monday night game is not going to put any pressure on YouTube to cater to ESPN. These are two teams that are basically done for the year. Even though the Dallas is technically the second team right now, second place, they are so far. They're 4.5 games behind the Eagles right now because they got that tie with Green Bay. Thanks a lot for that, by the way. It really screws up the math. 3.5, 4.5. They're basically done in the division. Meanwhile, I got the Raiders, who have nothing really to play for. So who do I think is going to win? Cowboys are going to get a cheap victory, but nobody gives a rat's ass. All right. That's how I look at that. So real quick, let's do our final rundown. On Thursday night, I have the New England Patriots beating the New Jersey Jets. I have Miami overseas beating Washington. I have Carolina beating Atlanta. That's a 50-50. I have Tampa Bay beating Buffalo, which is going to make life really difficult for Buffalo, but my guts tell me, Baker's going to bake. I got Houston beating Tennessee. I got Minnesota beating Chicago, another 50-50. Green Bay, I think, is going to be the only blowout going against the Giants because there's so much changes with the Giants. And at the time of me recording this, on Tuesday, we don't know if Dart's going to be playing. I have Cincinnati with the upset over Pittsburgh. I got the Chargers beating Jacksonville. I got Seattle beating the Rams, but that can go either way, another 50-50. San Francisco beating Arizona. Baltimore continuing to go after that division, beating Cleveland. I got Denver stepping on the neck of the Chiefs. And I have Philadelphia in a tight one against Detroit. And then I have Dallas beating the Vegas. So right now, I'm 96 and 52. Hopefully this week I'm over 100 and I stay under 55. I want to have a good week. The last 2 weeks have been pretty bad. But once again, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know your picks in the comment section. If you're watching this, please subscribe. I only got 3 right now. I'm trying to get to double digits by the end of the season. And once again, guys, fly, Eagles, fly. Baker's got to bake. And Buffalo, you got to change what you're doing.